It's just funny to hear yourself talk.
Yeah.
And
It's even funnier to see yourself in video.
Welcome again to another episode of the Strength and Movement Podcast. Again, I'm Luis Gatmaitan and today with my co-host.
I am Coach Marlon Luge.
Alright, so we have a very special guest today.
Yes.
So please introduce yourself po.
hi, Luis. Hi, Coach Marlon. So my name is Jay Lazaro, Dr. Jay Lazaro. I am a PhD. I'm a professor at the associate professor at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. I teach at the National Institute for Molecular Biology and Biotechnology.
Sir, I heard you took up your PhD in University of Paris. Is that correct?
Yes, I did a PhD in the University of Paris on pharmacology, experimental pharmacology. I also have a master's degree in molecular biology from UP Diliman.
Wow.
Yes, I'm also BS Bio from UP Diliman.
Wow. Okay, so first and foremost, we have several questions lined up for you. We would like to begin with the most controversial one. However, before we proceed to that, can we just ask how related is your expertise in terms of the field of health, fitness, and exercise? Meron ba tayong overlapping? Also, yung current interest mo ba or hobbies mo prompted you to what do you call this? Maybe integrate whatever knowledge you have with your field in terms whatever knowledge you have in terms of your field, tsaka dun sa interest mo right now. Because I see you quite often.
I'm
engage in
enrolled in Kinetics Lab.
Wow, thank you for the promotion. Pero I see you train and you train like a weightlifter, Olympic weightlifter. So let's start with that. So paano nagsimula yun, Professor? Because it's quite to be quite honest with you, it's quite rare to see people na sing busy mo, ang dami mong ginagawa, pero you actually train quite consistent.
Fitness kasi is very important for many things.
Okay.
For example, just take the stress that we go through every day. No?
Yes.
And professors, teachers, we are one of the more highly stressed kind of professional.
Okay.
So if you don't take care of your body, whether that is sleep, nutrition, you will suffer the stress. And
Yes.
I feel that every day.
Okay.
Right? But when I come to the gym,
Yes.
especially immediately after, I feel a lot better.
Yes,
And then if you look
okay.
and since I've been doing this for years,
Like how many years, sir?
I've been really serious about weightlifting since 2011. Pero before that,
wow.
mostly mga
What lang?
dumbbell, ganyan,
Yeah,
or
okay.
badminton.
At what moment did you realize I need to go to the gym, I need to exercise to unload whatever stresses me out? Was there a moment na parang aha moment na kailangan ko mag-train?
Hindi. Ngayon siguro the motive is stress. But when I
Okay.
started out young,
Yes.
it's because I loved it.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
I enjoyed badminton, and then going to the
Okay.
gym, getting a better feel as well as a better physique were motivations. Pero ngayon matanda na tayo. So more the motivation is more about health, stress relief,
Stress management.
management, oxygen in the brain,
Okay.
getting better sleep, which
Yes.
happens
Yes,
regularly when I
yeah.
go to the gym, keeping from being obese.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has its costs.
Meron bang time na naging obese ka?
No, I was never obese. I was never.
Okay.
I was very thin. I mean,
okay.
really thin.
Like
Yeah.
how much did you weigh 9 years ago?
When I started in 2011, I probably weighed around 145 to 150.
Payat yun for your height.
Payat yun. I'm 5'8".
Yes.
So right now I'm about 180.
Wow.
I got I got that.
More muscular.
Yeah, through powerlifting.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that really
Nice.
made me, yeah.
By the way, sir,
yeah.
how young are you?
I'm 51.
Oh,
Yeah,
51.
Yeah.
Okay. Luis, do you have a question for ano?
Sorry, medyo distracted ako. This is the first time officiating a live podcast. So I'm actually doing the technicalities. But anyway, I actually have a question. Was it hard nung, like, you said you started around 2011 pa lang po, no, to lift weights?
Serious. Yeah.
How was the transition from, was it a sudden thing? You suddenly decided on lifting weights, going to the gym? Or was it a slow transition? Let's say 2-3 years before that, you already started exercising?
Well, I've been trying to exercise since I was in elementary.
Like most people.
Most people. Pero at least in my case, I could say that I was a regular push-upper since around grade
Everyone starts
6.
with a push-up.
Yeah, but I was regular.
Really?
I was regular. Tapos pagdating sa college, more of the running.
Okay.
Yeah, tapos syempre the basketball. When I was in Paris, it's soccer.
Oh.
I mean, I
Siyempre,
like
number one sport dun yun.
Yeah, I like activity. But my physique is not athletic. So
Okay.
I cannot I never competed in anything.
You had limitations.
I had limitations.
Parang ano lang, parang weekend warrior. Let's say, athlete na weekend warrior.
Sabi ko nga minsan, I have the discipline of an athlete but not the body or the talent.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just very helpful. And then syempre, badminton, colleagues and all this after work. So it's also a nice way to bond.
Socialize.
Yeah, so it's fun. Fitness is fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the transition was not difficult when I wanted to go serious.
Yeah, so I asked that because, well, I'm not saying, like, people of a certain age, they find it hard to start and find it even harder to be a little bit consistent with starting exercise. Kasi people think na the more responsibilities I have, the more, especially with, of course, someone with the likes of you, for sure, sobrang busy nyo.
Correct.
And sobrang dami
Director ka pa
ginagawa.
naman ng NIMBB.
Yeah, I tell people that the hardest thing is to start.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so I would tell them, just tell yourself to put on your rubber shoes and then
That's it.
go to the gym. After that, everything just follows. It's just the first step that starts.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, but there's also another thing. Fitness is like the second priority in my day. Okay? The top priority is my work.
Yeah, of course.
But I heard some advice that make your second priority the first in your scheduling. Because if you don't do that, if you don't do that, the second priority you'll always have an excuse to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So when I say I want to do a gym at this time and this time, there's no compromise on
Good
that.
advice.
No
yun.
matter what. Kasi mawawala talaga. This is so
Good
easy
advice.
to make
That's the
excuse.
first time I heard that.
First in scheduling. Ang second
Can
in
you
priority.
repeat that, sir? Para lang ma-recall ng mga listeners natin.
Your second priority should get first place in
Your
scheduling.
Nice.
Yes.
Try ko bukas yan.
I think na-mention din natin yan the previous episode about priorities and to be more specific, having exercise or fitness as a priority. It has to be one of your priorities in life.
Otherwise, it won't,
number 2.
it won't happen.
It's number 2.
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
If you put
That's
it at maybe 4, 5, excuse ka na lang every day until magfo-fall off the wagon ka na. Tapos na.
Tapos yan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward. So, ito magre-rely kami sa expertise mo, sir, bilang isang biotechnologist. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
First question. Kasi we have a couple of clients and members who are actually concerned about the coronavirus. From a perspective of a biotechnologist, what is coronavirus?
Well, coronavirus is, this particular one, called the N-Cov, is a member of a family of viruses called the coronaviruses.
Okay.
So there are the MERS-CoV, SARS. there's a large number of animal viruses that are coronaviruses. The common colds is caused, one of the causes of common colds is coronavirus. So it's a huge family.
Okay.
In some animals, the animals get coronavirus as well. The effect would be diarrhea. In our case, the effect is more of a respiratory illness. Yeah.
Okay.
So as a virus, so it's not a living thing.
Yes.
It requires
A
other
host.
living. It requires a host to
yes.
reproduce. So you cannot kill it with antibiotics.
Yes.
You know? So in general, there are very special drugs, but there's not one that will cure all viruses. It's a huge family with different biologies and all that. So it's a fairly common virus.
Okay.
And in N-Cov in particular, it's generally, well, it's scary because it's new, but when you look at the numbers, it's not as bad as influenza, which is another virus.
Okay.
So in terms of number of people infected, the percentage of infected who die,
the mortality
the mortality rate,
it's quite low.
No, flu is superior to coronavirus.
Really?
A lot more people die of the flu.
Then why do you think, Professor, most people are really scared of it, aside from the fact that it's new?
No, because it's new.
That's it.
Yeah. Also, I think it's not communicated well. But in general, when you're faced with something that has many unknowns, it's scary.
Yes.
Also, I'd like to point out that marami talagang although it's much smaller than, let's say, the flu or the measles, it's much less transmissible than measles.
Yes.
Measles is something like 5 times more infectious.
I think
kills
this is
many more people.
Is this the Arnott scale? Are we talking about the Arnott scale?
No, we're just talking about the infectivity. In biology, we call it the basic reproduction number. Maybe later I can get to that. But coronavirus is not particularly infective or virulent with respect to some of the more common viruses like flu or measles. The deadliest virus in recent times was the flu, H1N1.
Was this the flu virus back in 1980?
This was in 2009.
Recent.
2009.
Yes, fairly
H1N1.
Yes.
In 2004, we had SARS. SARS is deadlier than N-Cov. Was deadlier than N-Cov.
So we're talking about mortality rate.
Mortality rate. The number of people infected who die.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you recall what was the mortality rate for SARS?
For SARS, it was 11%.
11%.
Yes.
And it's inaccurate to say what the mortality rate is because it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. But based on the numbers, it's like 2%.
Yeah, it's much lower.
It's much lower.
Last time I read, it was...
And
2%.
as of some readings, most of the people that actually die from it are the ones with... Those are
it's either
immunocompromised.
They're old. Yeah, they have
underlying issues.
SARS killed people below 65. This one is
very
killing
healthy people.
Yes, this one is killing people above 65.
Above 65.
Yeah, and also the numbers of people who move around.
Yes.
Are much more now than it might have been
a few years ago.
Yes. Wuhan is a transport hub.
Yes.
It's it's a port city with a lot of people who are rich.
Yes,
so
correct.
they travel,
Correct.
the tourism. So the potential for spreading it is probably it's higher than some.
Na lang yung wala. I think na walang N-Cov. Africa na lang. Walang pumupunta.
Pero walang
Chinese na pupunta.
Since I think end of January, there have been no new countries that have reported N-Cov. And the numbers per country are very small.
So, Professor, the way you see it right now, nasa anong stage ba tayo? Nagsisimula pa lang ba tayo? Nasa peak na ba to? O
We cannot tell eh.
Really?
And I think, I mean, me just looking at, I have this website, maybe I can refer our listeners to it later, where you have a daily update of the number of cases.
For the N-Cov virus?
Yeah, it's the number of cases per country.
Okay.
But generally, I look at two graphs. No? So the number of cases in China and the number of cases outside of China. Yeah. Okay. So an epidemic, aakyat ng parang bundok na matarik.
Okay.
Tapos magkakaroon ng peak. And then it goes down.
Okay.
What we're looking for is the peak.
Yes.
Yung China, hindi pa nagpipeak.
Wow.
Now, looking at the numbers from outside of China, although I just feel, feel that we're gonna see a peak pretty soon. Mainly because the Chinese are themselves preventing their own people from going out.
So,
at saka we know we know what to look for. So medyo kontrolado yung ano.
So yung mga nakikita mo ngayon, this is referring to China. Yung mga precautions na ginagawa nila, is it working?
Well,
the way you see it.
If you banning travel works.
Yes, of course.
Because, of course, you limit mobility.
Yes.
The question is, how draconian do you want to be?
Yes, correct.
Kasi lahat ng, whatever you do has a cost and benefit. So,
baka naman mamamatay lahat ng hindi mo...
Hindi
magkasakit.
Wuhan has what, like 11 million people?
11 million people.
How many people in Wuhan are sick? 30,000. That's relatively a very small number.
Okay.
Pero you don't know. This is also another thing about N-Cov which makes it, I feel, a little scarier than SARS.
Really?
Yes. Kasi ang SARS, ang bilis mag-incubate. So alam mo kagad. Alam mo sooner, right? Ang N-Cov, mga up to 2 weeks yung incubation. And then there's also the hypothesis that you don't have to have full symptoms to be a spreader. In fact, it's possible that even if you don't have symptoms, you can spread.
Kahit asymptomatic ka,
yes,
sir?
Kaya
pwede ka maging carrier?
At saka, di ba, kapag, kunyari, you get flu every year. And then you get flu-like symptoms now. Ay, flu lang naman yan eh. Tapos nabili ko na yung ticket ko to,
tuloy na ako.
So, tuloy. But, and then when you get to your country of destination, it becomes a respiratory,
ailment.
With serious discomfort.
Okay.
So, ganun, I feel that's what the Wuhan virus is like. It allows you to move.
Okay.
Before you get really sick.
Okay. So, huge implications in the near future.
Yeah, so dapat mobility talaga.
Mobility mapigilan.
At saka yung quick identification.
Pero as of the moment, these things are more of theoretical pa in a sense? Or are these facts? So these are well-established facts na ganun yung behavior of the virus. That's how people who get infected with it present themselves, or at least not present themselves. The
biggest unknown with N-Cov is the importance of the asymptomatic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they really spread, and how much do they spread?
Alright, so the asymptomatic one, the issue with the asymptomatic one, do they spread it or do they not? Yun yung hindi pa masyado established.
No, we know it can. We know it happens. We know it happens, but we do not know
how much
the extent of that. Kasi kung major yung issue, it makes sense to lock down. Kaya lang, locking down also has serious economic,
again, like what you said
economic consequences.
Ngayon pa lang nararamdaman na natin eh.
Yeah, the tourism. I mean, it's going down everywhere.
So, Professor, going back lang. So, right now, relating again to your field, anong immediate na pwede nating immediate na dapat gawin ng mga scientists or governments? Do we have to develop the testing kits right away para, again, like what you've said, ma-identify na nakaagad natin yung people under suspicion na meron siyang N-Cov kahit asymptomatic siya? Or asa na lang tayo doon sa vaccine, which I believe, based on what I've read, will take quite some time to develop.
Yeah, yung vaccine might come out May, June. So this is
So
going.
in the works na siya.
The idea is to incorporate it into the seasonal flu vaccine.
Oh, yes.
Alright, so lalagyan na nila ng N-Cov yan.
Okay.
The testing kits are also important because you don't want to mix the numbers of flu with the numbers of N-Cov.
Oh, yes.
All right. That's why you have to know what is confirmed and what is unconfirmed.
Okay.
I have a couple of follow-ups. All right. When it comes to flu vaccine, I think everyone knows this, but so flu vaccine changes every year. The contents of the vaccine changes every year.
Oh, kasi ang flu is what we call very mutable. So it keeps mutating.
All right.
So the strain this year is not the one of last year.
Last year. So
That's why you have to take it yearly.
all right. For the public, you can take the vaccine from last year, this year,
Don't
or you
expect
can
it
take.
to work.
And
You can take it if you want.
Sayang sa pera.
Pero may magbebenta niyan.
No, kasi there are cases that I don't know if pharmaceuticals or drugstores are the ones who sell it, pero they sell it for a cheaper price. And of course, the people who don't know that they change every year might end up buying them because they think that's cheaper kasi parang sinisale nila but it's an sort of outdated vaccine.
No, it's probably effective to some extent kasi
Alright.
hindi naman completely nawawala yung strain.
Yes.
And flu is a virus that tends to mix. Now, so
Yeah.
for example, in the same patient, you can have several strains of the flu. So yung flu parang mga ano yan parang mga computer na nagsaswap ng files among themselves. No? So when they get out of your body, they're very different from what they came when they came in. Coronavirus is not like that.
Really? Can you elaborate on that, sir?
Mukhang ang mutation rates ng coronavirus is not as fast as that of flu.
Okay. So should we be happy about that or should we be more worried about that?
Well, kung hindi nag-change ang N-Cov, then it means you don't have to make a different
Yes. Okay. So
vaccine,
one will
yes.
do.
one
Kung
will
hindi
do.
siya mag-change.
Kung hindi siya mag-change. That's another unknown pala.
Yes. Okay.
that
So
we have.
basically, all of our fears are stemming from the fact that we don't know that
Yes.
much about the
Yes, and
coronavirus.
it does not help, I think, that the media is not, the media thrives on
Yes.
sensationalism. So my general advice to the viewers is to look at the World Health Organization or the DOH
Yes.
advice.
Instead of the mga kung ano nung news na
Facebook. I think
lumalabas
that's
sa Facebook.
meron akong nakikita na lumalabas ngayon. The thing that spreads now like a wildfire is misinformation
Yes.
rather than the actual virus.
Because they thrive on readership, on audience.
And a lot of people would be more interested in something that is scarier than
Yeah, but-
something that is true.
Yes, but in a way, being scared also helps because
of course.
it
You get
encourage-
more cautious.
You get
with
more
the things that
cautious.
do.
You tend to report.
Yeah.
Kaya ang drawback niyan, can you imagine thousands and thousands of people invading the hospitals?
Yes.
How many of them will have
Yes.
N-Cov?
And it's just flu.
It's quite evident.
Baka
of them-
flu lang.
And we have a flu epidemic right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Nagkakaubusan na nga ng mga face mask
Yeah, it's
diba?
overpriced.
Yung mga
Extremely
medical
overpriced
practitioners
right now. Yeah.
natin, sila mismo, hindi na sila makakuha ng face masks
Oh, pero
kasi
may
yung
mga-
public na yung kumuha.
May mga na-supplyan.
Hindi naman sila masyado exposed. Anyways, going back dun sa what we can do about coronavirus on our own. Siyempre, sa common sense lang, practice good hygiene,
Yes.
avoid exposure. I would like to string this together with yung exercise, of course, with the exercise. Kasi exercise has been known to boost your immunity. Would exercising regularly help us, to combat whatever pwedeng magawa ng virus sa katawan natin?
Yeah, I mean, the effect of exercise on the
Yes.
immune system
Yes.
has been well established
Yes.
by scientific research.
Okay.
As long as you don't,
Overdo it.
overdo it.
Actually, there was this study. They studied Olympic athletes. So, yung mga Olympic athletes, syempre, some of them, they train 3-4 times a day for prolonged periods of time, maybe years. So, lumabas doon sa study, bumaba pa yung immune system nila. Pero, kinompare yon with a population who engage in moderate levels of exercise. Nag-boost talaga yung immune system nila. So, will that help?
Yes, also there are big
Versus
studies
coronavirus.
of people who are sickly, tapos they go into a moderate program.
Yeah.
Then they get less problems. No, so it kind of works. If you're if you exercise at least moderately,
Yeah.
it will also improve your nutrition kasi
Yeah.
makapakain ka eh.
Kailangan.
O masarap ang tulog. So all of those combined.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, tapos wala ka pang stress.
Kasi sinabi mo rin kanina, Professor, pwedeng asymptomatic eh. Pwedeng hindi ko nararamdaman yung mga hindi ko nararamdaman yung symptoms nung coronavirus, pero carrier na pala ako. Pwede ba natin masabi na kaya hindi niya nararamdaman yun because
you're fit?
Lumalaban yung immune system niya?
No, we don't know why people are symptomatic. It's not
really?
necessarily because
there's no science established saying na ganito yan, ganito.
It's one of the unknowns.
Oh,
Bakit
wow,
nagiging
that's very
asymptomatic?
interesting.
At saka at the same time, nagtatransmit.
Okay.
Because, what kills in flu or coronavirus is you drown in your own fluids. It's pneumonia.
Yes.
And the pneumonia, the drowning, is caused by your body fighting the virus.
Yes.
So when you don't release all of those fluids, I could say
Yes.
that your immune system is not reacting properly.
Oo. So, okay. Okay. So that's an interesting
But we don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yes, of course. Again, going back to exercise, from your perspective, what type of exercise would really, of course, hindi ka naman professor, exercise physiologist, pero from your biology background, what type of exercise do you think would boost your immune system? Should we engage in weight training? Should we be more focused on endurance-based training? From my biology perspective.
I've seen. My general conclusion is that I cannot recommend any specific. Other than regular and
consistent.
Consistent.
Okay.
O tsaka yung pace to your abilities.
Yes.
And age and
not too much that it will actually tax your system.
Pwede rin
just
negative
enough.
Negative na yung
pwede
effect.
rin, just enough. And enough is relative eh.
Yes. And then another thing is different kinds of programs result in different effects on the body.
Yes, so definitely.
Okay, so you want mass, right, or better oxygen capacity, so aerobic yan.
Yes, aerobic.
And then can your joints take it? So you have all of these
considerations.
In my case, I have to pay the price of coming to kinetics regularly, and that's joint pain.
Yes, joint pain.
Right, which
it comes
is
with
tolerable.
age.
And it's tolerable anyway.
Tolerable.
But it's a price you have to pay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, Luis, do you have further questions with regards to coronavirus?
I would like to ask for a break. So break tayo saglit kasi we've been going for 30 minutes na. Maybe Professor also wants to take a drink kasi baka nauhaw ka na, medyo dry na. So we'll be back. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Right now we're done with discussing coronavirus and what we can do about it. Now, with regards to your expertise, sir, what current studies do you think merong malaking implication with regards to exercise, health, and maybe sport performance?
Well, kasi since I'm also an exercise fan myself, so I tend to get interested. And what is interesting is whether genetics testing matters in genetic testing.
Genetics testing to pre-qualify a person na maglaro for a certain sport?
Something like that. Yes. So it's a question of whether I can tell from a genetic test whether a person is more fit to do certain sports.
Okay. So may mga countries nang gumagawa nun right now?
Well, the literature
Okay.
shows some very interesting things. No? So you're familiar with the nature-nurture problem.
Yes,
So
yes.
the question is how much of an athletic ability is trainable and
Yes.
how much of it
How much
is
of it
genetics.
is genetics?
Yes. It appears that there is a genetic component to several aspects of fitness.
When you say several aspects, meaning yung abilities ng
Meron
person?
kunyari your ability to build mass.
Yes, okay.
Has a genetic component. Your endurance also.
Yeah, also, of
okay,
course.
and then certain things for basketball, it's height.
Height.
Right, height has a
Anthropometry,
genetic
of
component.
course.
Yes,
Yeah.
anthropometry. The very the fact that you even train has a genetic component.
Really?
Yes.
So that means even your psychological disposition?
Your psychological disposition has some genetic component,
okay.
which influences your resilience, your like that. No? So, maraming aspects. So, I'll tell you outright, there is not one genetic test. Because there will be
it's
different...
several.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, another thing, there is not one gene. So, when you say
It's
genetic...
several genes then.
In my profession, what we look for are the genes.
Yes.
Are they
okay.
mutated genes? Are they normal genes?
Okay.
But a genetic test can also mean looking at your parents or your family.
Ang daming fronts.
Madaming
front.
Yes.
It's multiple fronts ang kailangan mo i-cover
Correct.
to get whatever you're trying to get from that test.
Yes, because when you say genetic, it's simply what is heritable.
Yes.
Right? So you,
from your parents, of course.
From your parents. So you look at your family line, that's genetics. You
Okay.
look at your genes from a blood sample, and then that's genetics too.
Okay.
So the question is, can we use a genetic test?
In your opinion?
All right, looking at the studies, for example, I'll give you an example. The question is this: how much of an athletic trait is genetic, and how much of it is due to the environment?
Okay.
So, ang ibig sabihin nun, if you are a super athlete, let's say, how much of that can you credit to your genes?
And how much of that
to
from your
training?
environment? Okay.
Your environment,
Training,
your training, your nutrition, your schooling even.
Yes.
No? So that's what we call environment. The rest is inside your blood. No? So that's your genes.
That's very interesting.
Okay, so let's see. I read a paper, yung endurance.
Yes,
so aerobic
aerobic capacity mo.
is something like 40 to 50% heritable. Meaning half of that ability
Has this
is genetic.
Literature been reviewed already?
Yeah, that's reviewed. This
talaga?
Actually, ang daming ang studies on heritability of various physical traits, no? Including, for example, aerobic. In contrast, building mass.
Okay.
So your ability to build mass.
Interested ako dyan.
That one is, for you, that's very interesting. 50 to 60%. Meaning to say, mas malaki ang role ng genetics into your ability to build mass. I can say I don't have the genes for it.
Me too.
Yeah, but see, because there's a 40% that is due to environment,
Okay.
pwede mong
rin.
madadagdagan mo yun.
Madadagdag.
Oo.
Pero, lugi ka na kagad sa simula.
May
If,
limit.
for example, yung parents mo, ang limit nila is, let's put it, just for the sake of argument,
Yes.
lagyan na ng 40%, tapos napasa sa'yo 40%. Tapos ang kalaban mo, let's say sa bodybuilding, ang na-inherit nila is 70%. So, on the onset, without training, lugi ka na kagad.
Kung maganda yung genes ng kalaban mo sa powerlifting at saka yung sa'yo, hindi maganda, at the competition level, it matters.
Yes.
It matters. Pero at the recreation level, it does not.
Well, who cares?
Yeah,
diba?
we still grow. We still grow. Hindi nga lang what they're capable of.
So genetics matter.
Genetics matters. Kaya lang, as you see with aerobic capacity, it's about half. Kung muscle mass, it's more than half. So there are disabilities that differ in their heritability. Height is 80% heritable, which means there's not much you can do by way of nutrition kapag wala kang genes.
Wala talaga.
Oo.
So it's yung mga
diba?
Mina-market ba na mga for height?
To illustrate lang, si Yao Ming, diba? Yao Ming,
Ilang taon pa lang yung gano'ng
parents
tangkad
niya,
na.
diba? Parents ni Yao Ming were paired. para lang lumabas si Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Look, ano yung lumabas?
Yeah, I mean, height being so important to certain sports.
Yes.
Pwede mong gawin yan eh.
Okay.
Yung piliin mo yung parents.
Genetic matching.
China and Russia.
Yeah, I think they
Yes.
do. Kasi
They
I
do
think
it.
with those very competitive in the Olympic level, batang-bata pa lang. Ayun na, hindi pa nga bata eh. Parents pa lang pinipilian na nila.
Pero,
they're
pero
really
hindi mo
trying to
magagawa
match that.
yan for
Yeah.
many things that are not height.
So it's just so most of
I
it
get
is
your
can only be done by sa height lang talaga.
Yung choosing parents,
Yeah.
kasi mataas nga ang heritability ng height. It's
that is
80%.
The reason that why
80%,
kaya
yes.
siya, it's just
So you
because
can
of
do
the
that.
high heritability.
You can do that. Pero for
other things.
For aerobic, I don't think you can do that
Yeah.
because only half of it is genetic.
It's still pretty high though.
It's-
Pero it's a gamble every single time you try to do it.
It's trainable. In
Okay.
other words, your parentage is not that important when it
Alright.
comes to aerobic.
All right.
Pero sa muscle mass, it's more than half. Like what you said a while ago.
50 to 60%
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter and
At
that's
an enthusiast level.
except
Pero
when you're at the competition level.
pag world level na yun,
Ayun.
every percentage counts.
But then the selection process means that everybody
Correct.
at that level has the gene.
Yes, correct. Law of averages din, di ba?
Plus the training.
Yes,
So
okay. So, just a final word on it. So, are countries meron na bang countries na confirm na gumagawa nito? Or are they developing ways and means para ma-implement to sa sports program nila?
the way I see it,
Is it viable?
wait, yung sa profession ko, when we look at genes,
Yes.
yung structures, it does not. There is no
okay.
practical value
Okay.
in looking at your genes, you're looking at mutations, and then I tell you what sport you're going to be good at.
Okay.
There are two genes that have been studied very extensively. If you want, I can talk about them. But even in that, those two genes that are very well studied,
Brief mention lang.
nobody really uses that
Yeah.
to So there is the ano bang pangalan gene? The ACE gene.
Okay.
Okay.
ACE.
Okay. And then there's ano ba yung isa? So there's the ACE gene, and then there's a hormone receptor gene. Okay, anyway, the ACE gene. There's a mutation there. Okay, it's that mutation. There are two versions of the gene.
Okay.
If you have one version of that gene, it is associated with endurance, greater endurance. When you
Okay.
have the other version of that same
Okay.
gene, it is associated with power, with explosive force. But nobody is using the ACE test to tell you. Kasi ang contribution ng training is even more
Yes,
than
even more. Okay.
than whatever ACE
Okay.
gene you have.
Okay.
There's
Gets
also-
your point. Get
Get my point. Okay, there's also another gene that's very well studied. It's called the actinin gene.
Actinin.
Alright? Actinin.
Actinin.
Actin.
Okay.
You heard of actin, right?
Yes, I have heard it.
Muscles.
Yes.
muscles.
Actin, myosin,
Actin,
and-
Actin,
myosin,
myosin,
yeah.
yes. So
Okay.
the actinin gene, there are also two versions of that. Kind of like the ACE gene. So if you have one version, you're good for endurance.
Okay.
The other, you're good for
Strength
power.
and power.
Pero how much is yung, let's say, if you have those genes, how much does it affect you? Like, does it automatically make me, let's say, 50% more superior to those who don't have
Okay.
it?
When you look at a large group of
Okay.
people and then you split them into you have this version, the other group has the other version.
yeah.
And then you will find that more people on one side are good in endurance, more people on the other side
Power.
are good on power.
Okay.
That does not mean that it was because of the gene. Okay, there's an association. There's an association,
Pwede.
but there's
It's not an either or thing.
hindi. In science, we say that correlation is
That's
not
not
causation,
causation.
right?
Yeah,
So
yes.
just because it's associated does not mean that
Okay.
that gene is
Yes,
responsible
yes,
why you're
yes.
so
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So nobody uses that test
Right now.
for any practical.
For
No,
any
no.
practically. And do you think
Yeah. A lot,
magagamit ba siya in the future? Hindi na.
kasi
Yun na yun.
the most predictive for any athletic, when you're making selection,
Okay.
is you look at, number one, the family.
Okay.
You look at the parentage.
Yes.
The background.
For the genetics.
Oo. Tapos tignan mo yung psychological traits, yung ability niya to
Okay.
be resilient. Those are a lot more predictive.
Okay.
And then there's another thing. You let a person try out and then you simply see what he's good at.
Correct.
At saka kung saan siya nag-enjoy.
Saan siya nag-enjoy, saan siya nag-excel.
Yes.
Pag napagsama-sama mo yan, you have a world champion.
Pwede. Tapos you also have to consider na, di ba, athletes have there are different skills that go into athleticism.
Yes.
Right?
Depende
So,
sa sport.
Depende. Meron yung dapat mabilis kang makarecognize visually.
Yes.
There are some people, they run slow, but once they get to the ball and they kick it, napakalakas. So, kaya piniplacing mo yung mga athletes in different positions of a sport to take advantage.
Figure out.
Yes, and there's no genetic test to put, ikaw ba forward, ikaw ba yung middle.
Correct,
Hindi mo masasabi ang
It's
genetic.
something
That's nice.
You cannot.
train for
Yes.
talaga.
So guys, moral of the lesson, work hard.
Yeah, work hard
So,
and then find out what you enjoy.
The question
what
is,
you're good at.
are elite athletes born?
Yun nga eh. That's what we say when you say heritable.
Yes.
Right? So I could say that a tall athlete is 80% born.
Yes. But everything else, most likely hindi.
Yeah, kunyari, muscle mass.
Yeah.
A lot of that is really your training.
Okay.
Okay, that's nice. Maybe you have another study na nag-spark ng interest mo. Maybe you can share with us.
Yeah.
One more. Na may application this field of practice namin.
Okay, there's one study I came across. Now it's the question is, when you do aerobic, what genes are activated? And
Okay.
what do they do to the body? Okay, and then
That's nice.
yeah, compared with if you do resistance training,
Yeah,
which is what we do.
yes.
Anong genes yung nag-activate
Activate. Okay.
at anong ginagawa niya to the body? So it's very interesting. When you do aerobic exercise, ang na-activate are genes involved in mitochondrial function. No? So
Okay.
yung ability mo to use oxygen,
Yes.
your ability to use fats to metabolize
Okay,
glucose.
for
Yung
our
tumataas yun.
listeners
Oo.
balikan ko lang kung ano yung mitochondria. Yan yung
Basic
powerhouse.
yan.
Powerhouse.
That's a basic
Powerhouse of
definition.
cell.
Mitochondria.
Grade 3
Ika,
definition.
yeah.
Powers of the
Okay.
cell.
Okay, balik tayo kay Professor.
Yeah. And then when you do resistance training, all right, ang na-activate, or one of the many that are activated, is what we call fibroblast growth factor. Growth factor.
Growth factor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fibroblast, yan yung, okay, the muscles, what support the muscles.
Yes,
No? So, the genes...
Parang framework nila.
Parang framework na ganyan. So, in general, what this means is, kapag nag-resistance training ka, you activate the genes involved in protein synthesis, in anabolism.
Yes.
Whereas for aerobic training,
Okay.
you activate the genes for catabolism
Yes. To fuel the
body.
Yeah.
And there's also
Technical
the
again. Oh, what is catabolism?
breakdown.
Breakdown.
Anabolism
Degradation.
is break up
Alright.
and build up. And then, very interesting also, kapag nag-aerobic, mitochondrial function tumataas. Pero tumataas din yung proteolysis. No? So this is your body's degradation of proteins.
So what's the implication if your
This is-
ability to create or at least ability to have more energy, and what's the implication of that with the ability of your body to break down fat? Oh no, protein?
In this case, when I
In
say
general.
proteolysis, in general actually.
Alright.
So, but your body has to be prepared. I think ang interpretation dyan, your body is preparing itself to have to break down your own proteins.
Yes. Yes.
If necessary.
I share the same
Diba?
sentiment. Tama. Siyempre, of course, you're doing prolonged activities. Of course, kailangan mo ng gasolina dyan.
Yes.
So, maghahanap yung katawan mo.
Oo.
So, it just makes sense na i-activate talaga niya yung gene na yun.
Yes.
As opposed to weight training, of course, you're building something. Again, kailangan ma-activate yung mechanisms na mag-aalaw ng
Protein
anabolism.
synthesis.
So
diba?
the
Yeah.
implication of that is for when you are doing more aerobic training, you tend to lose more protein in your body.
You're
I think that's-
predisposed?
You're
Can you
predisposed
say
or you're more
use the
higher
word
chance-
predisposed?
You're prepared. We're all prepared for
Yes,
that.
okay.
So the body adjusts
Okay. So it doesn't necessarily mean naman na once I go and engage into any aerobic training, I lose protein, I don't use the protein that I intake.
Prepared ka lang.
Okay.
And remember that the gene is activated when you exercise.
All right.
Yeah.
So
during.
it's activated during or by the exercise.
Okay.
So
Nice.
if you don't exercise, all of those go down.
Go down.
Proteolysis goes down.
You're saying, Professor, na precursory exercise for these genes to be turned on.
Parang siya yung switch.
Okay.
Pero dun sa resistance training, I said that the anabolism is built up. No? So protein synthesis is built up. Pero ang isang na-activate din are what we call the heat shock proteins. These are proteins that your body produces in response to stress.
Okay.
Alright, so ang ibig sabihin yan, resistance training really has the potential to create injury to tissue. So
Through what mechanism? Since you said heat.
we just call it heat shock protein because
Okay.
it was originally studied in the context of when you expose something to heat
Okay.
Or
to
trauma.
protect itself.
Okay.
You produce certain genes, right?
Alright.
You express
So it's
certain
called like
genes.
that in the sense that heat is sort of trauma.
It's
to the
trauma
body.
and you need to protect yourself from that. So there are proteins that we just call them heat shock proteins.
For
But
reference
doesn't-
lang.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Yeah,
mean
pangalan
that
lang,
they
pangalan
only
lang.
respond to heat. But what it means is the implication to exercise is still something to be studied. The immediate implication is that your different exercises have different effects on the way cells, the way even your DNA responds
Okay.
to the
That's nice.
to the kind of exercise that you do.
So it's not just on the larger scale level of building muscle, ganun. It even goes down to as complicated as
DNA.
change in
Yes,
DNA.
yes, down to that level, nagkakaroon ng change.
So are these adaptations?
They're adaptations, yes.
Yes,
They're adaptations.
of course. Adaptations. Since sinabi mo kanina, sir, na precursor yung exercise. So if I don't exercise, I'm losing out on this. So
Yeah, let's qualify that.
Yeah.
Kasi ang pinoproduce mo lang naman are certain proteins.
yes,
Right? But whether they have an effect on you depends on how often you express them,
Yeah,
right? So
okay.
you don't see effects until you're really chronically doing exercise.
So meron ding consistency factor.
Dapat parang
Correct me if I'm wrong. For example, dun sa gene na nag-express ng catabolism related to endurance training. Paano ba, for example, tumakbo ko hindi ako tumatakbo, sedentary ako, tumakbo ko ng isang beses 5K,
Automatic ba?
mag-on na makagad yun.
mag-on yun, pero will it have an effect?
Yun.
Hindi
That's
mo
a different-
makikita.
Oh, yes.
May effect, pero hindi mo makikita
Yes,
until you
okay.
keep doing
Good,
that.
yes, okay.
Kasi of course, it might have an effect, but it's so minute that it doesn't...
Cumulative
you don't,
siya eh.
Wala.
Cumulative
You don't
siya.
see it.
That's one way to look at it.
Alright.
Nice, okay.
The same way, I guess.
So
yun
it
pa rin
just
dun
proves
lumalabas
na you have to be
consistency
consistent.
talaga.
Yeah,
Consistency pa rin
And
nga
it takes
talaga.
time.
And
Yes.
different exercises, different effects.
Yes, correct. So you have to take you have to program your exercise regimen depende dun sa goal mo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hindi pwedeng bara-bara.
Oh.
Okay, kasi naapektuhan tayo at the cellular DNA level actually.
Yes.
'Di ba? Okay. And isa pa doon, going back dun sa first study na sinight mo, whatever yung ma-produce mo na adaptations, pwede ipapasa mo pa sa anak mo 'yun, 'di ba?
Some of that.
Yeah, some of that.
some of
So,
that,
so
wait.
basically, you're not just taking care of yourself. You're also
taking
taking
care
care
of
of
future generations.
Yung future generations.
This is a very interesting study. There's a very interesting trend now in molecular biology. It's what you call epi-genetics.
Epigenetics.
So
This
what's
is the
that?
first time I've heard.
Ang epigenetic is, ang genetic kasi, when we say genetic, yung mutation ng DNA mo, you give it to your kid. Right? And that mutation changes your kid.
Okay.
Ang epigenetic, your DNA does not change, but you're passing on an
Will change.
effect to your kid.
So
but
parang iniipon mo by doing changes to yourself.
I'll give you an example.
But then the
Sige,
effect
sige.
will be
Yeah,
future
I'll give you an
generation.
example. There was a study in Scandinavia.
Okay.
that the granddaughters of women who suffered a famine just before the First World War, okay, they had a greater tendency to be obese.
Okay.
All right. But when you look at their genes, there's nothing remarkable about their genes. There's no...
So, hindi siya na-express sa gene profile niya?
As far as the genes are, to put it simply and wrongly, but simply, they do not have the gene for obesity.
Okay.
The reason they're obese is because of something their grandmothers experienced. And the grandmother's experience, which affected their cells, was transferred not to their daughters, but to their granddaughters.
To the next generation.
So what is that? It's not DNA.
So ano yun? Ano yun, Professor?
It could be mitochondria. It could be some factor that is, we have a lot of possibilities of how that happens, but the basic thing is it's heritable. And number 2,
heritable pero hindi DNA.
hindi DNA.
So,
it's epigenetic.
Confusing na medyo.
Actually, hindi siya.
Yeah.
It's quite simple. Hindi siya, let's try to illustrate it. Hindi siya nakasulat sa katawan mo, pero pagdating doon sa apo mo, lumabas.
Parang if your genes are your body,
yes,
you also give your clothes.
Tama.
Yeah.
Tama.
You give your body, but what really matters are the clothes
Gamit.
that you give.
Yung damit.
O yung damit. Yun yung epigenetic. Pwedeng palitan yung damit, di ba?
Yes.
Ang body normally, hindi.
Normal, hindi.
What you are is what you are, right? So,
wow.
Very interesting.
yung
Grabe yun,
that's hot. In biology, that is
Bago
very
lang ba
hot.
tong branch na to? Epigenetics?
The techniques have improved to the point
Okay.
na we can study epigenetics at the molecular level. Yun lang.
It's just the science is better. The technology is better now that we can understand the science more these days.
But for application,
Wala pa talaga.
no, we know. Very
Oh, we
This
know.
is huge.
Pero are there any, like, let's say, instances na these are done sinasadya na, let's say, something is trained for one individual so that they can be passed on to a future generation?
Evidence is pretty strong that when you are well nourished, you transmit that health epigenetically.
Really?
Or some aspects of your health
Nice.
are transferred epigenetically.
And this is huge. And
That's huge. Kasi,
That's huge.
uh,
Smoking is epigenetic.
yes. Kasi, it will change the landscape ng practice. In particular, sa field natin, exercise, health, and sport performance. It will put accountability to the person eh.
Yes, hindi na lang ikaw.
Hindi na lang ikaw
it's
eh.
not just your body
And it's not,
you're
we're
taking
not
care of.
quite sure which generation yung tatalon yung epigenetic characteristic.
Yes, and tayo, di ba, we're interested in mass. Mass is 60% genetic. But the other 40% could be epigenetic, which means what you do as a bodybuilder might have an effect on
your grandchildren or children. Wow.
Ayan, interesting. We don't know how much of that is actually transferred epigenetically.
Another implication of this, pwedeng gumawa ng mga super athletes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Tsaka
2-3 generations down, patong-patong na.
Sports dynasties, kumbaga.
Yes.
Something that, I guess somehow na-observe natin yan because
Serena
some...
Williams sisters.
Like, the granddaughters, the daughters of elite athletes have children who excel
Quite
agad. Lalo minsan ngayon pa lang, bata pa lang. Exceptional na agad sila.
Parang
maybe it's
nag-mix
something
na yung
from
nature versus nurture eh.
Yes.
Okay. Since we don't have time anymore, one last.
Mabot tayo ng ano.
Alright. Actually, we're about
Nakakatawa yung usapan natin
half an hour.
go an hour na tayo.
One last study na pwede nating i-share pa sa listeners natin, Professor.
There's a lot of studies now on longevity.
Alright.
So
Longevity.
what are the molecules that you can take as a supplement?
Yes. Let's go down to the supplement kasi pag doon nitong coronavirus, ang dami nagbebenta ng supplement claiming that they can heal or whatever. So
Mga essential oils.
Aging is a big topic in biology. In fact, we are holding a conference on this in October of this year.
Here in the Philippines?
Lasal, Valley. The studies have to do with mice, with fruit flies.
Okay.
They manipulate the genes or they give them substances, and they note increases in lifespan of up to 30%.
30%.
Up to 30%.
Okay.
There's a study in rats, in which they tweaked around with one gene.
One gene alone.
And they were able to increase the lifespan of that mouse by 30%. They know what
Laki nun.
yes, they know what the gene is. They know what protein it produces.
Okay.
So the name of the protein is klotho.
Klotho. How do you spell that?
Klotho.
Okay,
So where can you
klotho.
find
Klotho,
that
yes.
in
Okay.
typical food? Can
That's
you
the
find
name
that
of
in
the
food?
gene.
Yeah, you don't find it in food. Your body
Alright.
makes it.
Okay.
But by eating certain fruits like broccoli, you increase the amount of klotho.
What particular component of broccoli becomes a precursor of the klotho?
It's not based on precursors. We do
Okay.
not know how it's made. But
okay.
So it's positive feedback for the body.
hindi nga natin alam. For example, you have a different version of klotho. I have a different. You have a different. So some versions are associated with longer life, less prone to osteoporosis, arthritis. And there are maybe 3 or 4 versions of klotho, each one with a different association with longevity. Merong kumpanya na ginawa. It's called Klotho Therapeutics, I think.
Okay.
They are doing a clinical trial of the klotho protein, which they are eventually going to sell as a
Supplement?
no, not as a
Longevity?
supplement. Ang ano nila, ang marketing. Etong mangyayari sa tingin ko, no. The klotho that they will sell is going to be developed as a therapy against kidney disorder. Because klotho can, in mice, reverse certain kidney disorders. Reverse.
Kasi that's a problem now with kidney problems. Once you have some sort of failure in it, it's non-reversible. A lot of people go into dialysis for the rest of their lives. So if that becomes possible and if that becomes something that is very feasible to put out in the market, then it's a huge thing.
Professor,
Not all kinds of disorders of the kidney, but
not all,
certain that are due to maybe the loss of your cells. Kasi ang gagawin niya is it will promote the growth of damaged.
Ano tong strategy na to by the pharmaceutical company? I-mask niya lang na it's for kidney failure, pero ang ulterior motive niya.
It's like growth hormone.
Yes.
Diba? It is a drug. It's a
Yes.
drug for various disorders.
Yeah.
Okay. But people will buy it for the off-label effects.
Wait, can you mention that major off-label effect?
Wala sa label, pero alam nilang it makes your body grow. So, it is approved for use as a drug, but you use it
for different
other
reasons.
for something not approved.
Parang glutathione, di ba?
Parang glutathione, exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
testosterone is also used for its off-label effects.
Yes.
A lot of the regulated drugs, especially in the sports industry, I think are used this way. It's off the
Actually, it's a way of life sa at least high-level sports.
Tingin ko klotho will be used for its off-label effects.
Maybe.
But there's no proof.
So, ano yung main effect niya?
Sa humans?
Yes, sa humans.
From the studies that I've read, it will affect you when you're old. No, so kunyari, at our age, our klotho versions do not really create any difference between us. It's when we reach the age of 60, 70. If you have the right version, you will experience fewer health problems and you'll probably live 1 or 2 years longer than I. Something like that.
So it will still vary depending on what kind you have.
It's designed to improve the quality of life, later stages.
Especially
quality and prolong.
Is it because it's produced more ng ganun, or it's just the effects are medyo delayed that you experience the effects after a certain age pa?
It's more like how much of it goes to your blood. So if you have the wrong version, I put in quotation marks, it will stay in your cells. If you have the right version, it goes to your blood. So what?
An X number of years after pa.
Yeah, so, and all of us, bumababa yung production natin ng klotho as we age. So what the company is going to sell is maybe an injectable klotho that you can increase your own klotho levels way after it goes down.
Wow.
Yeah,
So pero wala pang
it's both good and bad. The way I see it, it's both good and
maybe,
bad.
yes.
Kasi good in the sense that, the good effects, so kidney function and all that thing. Pero of course, since it's very specific to people, it will not affect everyone. Magiging i-market siya as something that, you take this, it will improve you 100%. Diba? Parang, I think even if it gets developed, I don't think it will be something that can be of use to everyone. Diba? Parang you still have to be screened somehow na this will be applicable to you, this is indicated for you. I don't think it's going to be something for everyone.
No, right. You're definitely right there. Any drug actually, or most drugs, will not affect people in the same way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of their genetics or whatever. But there's another drug that's also strongly marketed. It's called NMN. You might have heard of it.
How do you spell that?
Nicotinamide mononucleotide.
I've heard of
you
it.
know NADH,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's a precursor of that.
What does it do?
Long life.
In what sense? Kasi ganun din eh. The klotho thing is also for long life, right?
Basahin mo lang yung mga testimonials ng multi-level marketing. It increases your life. I think there is evidence for it kasi the main scientist who is like at the forefront on this compound. His name is David Sinclair. He's a big guy when it comes to aging. So there is scientific support for NMN.
So, wrapping up lang, itong mga drugs na to, when do we expect to see this maybe available in the market? Is it in the next 5 years?
NMN is
10
available.
Is it regulated? Or is it
Available
like
na
FDA
pala.
approved? Ganun?
You can buy it in certain health.
Talaga?
It's pretty expensive.
Okay.
Right now, it's sold multi-level marketing. Ang klotho, dapat available na yan kasi they started the trials 2 years ago. So
prescription to?
baka maging prescription.
Interesting.
Hopefully, it's prescription. Kasi para hindi ma-abuse.
We'll keep a watch on that because that has also huge impact in terms of our field.
Yeah.
Longevity, yung reason lang naman kaya tayo nagpapaka-healthy, we exercise. Siyempre, we want to live longer and we want the quality of our lives to be better.
Hindi lang to live longer kasi you live to 100, di ka naman naglalakad for the last 40 years. That's not the way to live.
At saka genetic ang age. May genetically set yan.
Talaga? Grabe.
Metformin.
Yes.
Metformin.
Right.
A common anti-diabetic drug. In experiments on animals, tumataas yung lifespan.
Really?
But there's a drawback.
What's the drawback?
Your for fitness,
Yeah,
don't expect to get as much
big
strength gains.
Strength gains,
Yes.
yes. So, this explains why. Kasi, from my experience, I train a couple of people na nagtitake talaga ng metformin. Pero,
do you take it for diabetes or do you
for
take
diabetes,
it
for
Kasi
diabetes.
I also know that some doctors prescribe it to control sugar for people with polycystic ovarian cysts.
Yeah, basta sugar.
Yes,
kasi
sugar.
ano siya,
Pinaprescribe din siya, not necessarily for diabetic
Not just for
people.
For diabetes control, well, going back, ang hirap mag-produce ng strength gains. That's what what I observed. Yung mga naka-metformin. Lalo na yung mga more than 55, mga 60, ganyan. It's so difficult kahit nakatrack lahat ng kinakain, nakatrack yung sleep. It's so difficult. Maybe this is it. Baka ito isa to sa mga reasons. Through what mechanism gumagana yung pag-inhibit ng metformin sa sa protein synthesis or sa pag-gains ng strength?
Okay, metformin is a mitochondrial poison. No? So, I mean, when I say poison, doesn't mean it obliterates it. It just inhibits the activity of mitochondria. So in other words, your metabolism goes down. Longer life has been associated with lower metabolism.
Yes,
lower use of glucose. That's why some people say when you fast.
Yeah,
Yes,
the fast. I was
yes,
just gonna
yes.
say that.
Yes.
If you put your body in a fasting state for a very long period of time, it prolongs your lifespan.
Yeah, it's because of the lower metabolism, I think. Or
Yes.
maybe it has to do with the
Oxidation.
glucose there. Or the products of oxidation
Yeah.
of glucose. I am hesitant to say that doing the opposite, increasing your metabolism will shorten your life. I am not going to say that because
Okay.
I have no basis
Okay.
for saying that. If anything, the benefits of strength training
Yeah.
outweigh its costs.
Yes.
If there are costs.
That's nice to hear from
Yeah,
you, Professor.
for me, the cost is joint pain. But
Yeah.
Yes.
if the cost is, I don't know, there's no proof, but if the cost is lessened lifespan, the
So be
benefits you get from it are far more than that.
So be it.
The quality
Yeah.
is so much
Again,
better.
it's the quality,
Kasi at the end of the
Quality.
day, quantity versus quality, longevity mo, 80, 90 ka nga, pero yung quality
Again,
of life mo
like
naman
just
drop.
like what I said, you live to 100,
Yes.
but from 60 to 100, you can't even walk. So
That's a nice point.
Like, there's nothing to gain from that. But okay, it's a bad way. I guess it's a bad way to look at it. Pero I only live till 70, but my age from 40 to 70,
What's that?
I can do everything I want. Diba? Isn't that
You know,
isn't that
fitness,
something na parang ang sarap pakinggan? Okay, I only live to 70, pero masaya ako.
Yes.
Mentally as well as physically.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Pati yung emotional disposition mo, siyempre magandang quality ng life mo.
Of course.
So, sasabihin mo anytime kunin ako ni Lord, okay lang. Masaya ako. Hindi, kidding aside, going back dun sa metformin, so we can, it's definitive na yung results ng mga study na mitochondrial poison nga siya. So,
Yes.
what can a person who's under medication using metformin do to augment? Maybe augment, or what strategy can they employ to lessen the harmful effects of that drug?
First of all, yung metformin, when you take metformin for a medical reason, you're not supposed to stop. So we're
Yes,
not gonna
once
tell
you
them
start, you cannot stop.
you cannot stop.
Yeah.
There are withdrawal symptoms of
yes.
metformin. So first of all, I'd say wag na kayo masyadong mag-ambisyon. No? I mean, you're
Manage
recognize...
na lang yung expectations.
Manage your expectations.
Yeah.
I do metformin.
Okay.
And then besides, if they take metformin, they already have an underlying medical.
correct.
diba?
Correct. So, symptoms na lang
Pero
siya.
pagdating nga rin dun, I don't want people to get discouraged and if I'm already taking metformin, might as well not exercise because I'm not gonna
Yes.
get as
Hindi,
much
no,
strength.
no,
It
no. No.
marginal lang yung effects nun, I think.
Yes.
There is an effect, but I think not exercising has a greater negative effect
Yes.
than
Something is better than nothing.
Yes, you have to
Always.
exercise.
yes,
Yes.
still.
Alright. So
So yan, another
thank you,
quite
professors.
long
Ang ganda ng episode natin. Proud ako dito.
So,
Dami ko
again,
natutunan.
enjoy
Thank you
that.
so much,
a lot
professor.
of new learnings. I hope the people who listen then
Yes.
learn something from
Yes,
what we have.
definitely they will learn something new.
All right.
Alright.
Okay.
So-
So a few words na lang. All right. Anything? I just want to say then. Dagdag ko lang for the coronavirus thing. Just check the World Health Organization
Correct,
website.
correct.
There's a specific page there regarding the coronavirus. There's updates. There's even yung mask. If you should or should not wear a mask, it's all there, and that is a much more reliable source than Facebook.
Okay.
By far, it's a more okay.
Ako, from my part, what I can surmise from this session is again, syempre may bias ako, nasa field ako.
Yes.
Exercise doesn't cure everything, but it
Yes.
does something definitely good for your body.
So
So neglecting it won't just put negative effects on you, but also to the next generation. Just like what Professor said a while ago. Also, let's use facts.
Yes.
Let's use facts to protect us from panic or whatever misguided information is readily available for us in Facebook or Instagram. Okay. How about you, Professor? Do you have any final words
final
to our,
words to our
listeners?
Yeah, I think the information is out there. No, we have more access to real facts, and I suggest a few. So aside from the World Health and the DOH, for anything medical,
Yeah.
even when it's got to do with fitness,
Yeah.
my go-to website
Okay.
is PubMed.
PubMed,
PubMed.
yeah. Okay.
Ano ba?
PUBMED.
Public Med. PubMed.
PubMed.
And then you just go to their website, put in your keywords. You find
Yes.
things like metformin,
Yes.
NMN,
Yes.
longevity,
Alright. Okay.
even fitness. data and studies, scientific,
Yeah.
are found there. You don't have to read the entire article.
Yes.
Often the graphs are
Yun na.
sufficient.
Just read the abstract
sufficient,
and
Abstract
usually
lang.
at least you get an idea from it.
Hindi ka na magbabayad.
Siyempre naman.
Oh, kasi yung
Yung iba may bayad.
ignorance and misinformation are terrible diseases.
Yes. Correct.
So
Correct.
you also have to fight
Definitely.
that.
All right. Okay. Thank you for your presence dito sa episode na to, Professor.
You're
hope-
welcome.
we
I
really
Thanks for the
appreciate
opportunity also.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
to
I hope we
our listeners and
have you
viewers,
again. I hope we
Okay.
get to have you again as our guest, maybe for a different topic, maybe something from nutrition, something for pharmacology, something
Yes,
about that. All right, just a last few words. Again, like always, please do follow us on our Kinetics Lab media page. It is up on YouTube, and then this podcast will be uploaded on Spotify at Strength and Movement Podcast. So currently we have 3 episodes, so please do check those out. And then of course follow Kinetics Lab and Kinetics Lab Podium pages because most of our content will also be uploaded there.
all right. Professor,
So yeah, Coach Marlon.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
See
much.
you on
Thank you very
Saturday.
much.
See you on
During the
Saturday.
meeting. Thank
See
you.
you
Thank you so
around.
much.
All right, thank you.
Prof, thank you. Thank you.